Ask Reddit by ddelirium46. Have you ever listened to a person talk for less than a minute and known you weren't going to get along with that person? What did they say? Yes, this guy hopped into our Discord group a few months back. He was a friend of a friend, but he didn't think to just add him to our server, not our group chat. We all hop into a call and first thing he does is make some remarks that are very politically sensitive, sent some graphic photos and made some inappropriate remarks. Didn't expect to meet someone and have him offend 6 people in the span of 10 minutes. Are you sure you're not just jealous of his efficiency and multitasking skills? You don't scare me. Wasn't trying to scare you in the slightest. Bro, if he said that when you all first met, you probably scared him LMAO. He was peacocking 100%. Told me yeah, all women are bitches, you included. No offense, within the first 2 minutes of knowing me. Oh, none taken, you're clearly not the type of person whose opinion I care about. When a mutual friend introduces you and you go to greet them and they deny it and proudly exclaim I'm a hugger and then go in for an unwanted hug. WTF. Ran into a lady like that. And she lingered on the hugs, too, like, hanging on full body weight. I'm autistic. Heavy unexpected physical touch from a stranger equals no. Did she notice? Nope, and kept doing it. My husband, after the 5th time, had to tell her I didn't like what she was doing, and I explained it was due to my brain meat status. Oh, you don't look autistic, she chirped. Do people who say this think it's a compliment? Yeah, I went misdiagnosed and ignored for decades because I don't fit the media stereotype. Lucky me. There are different levels to being a psychic. I'm on the purple level so I can talk to the dead, said a new employee at my previous job. Nope. Oh, are you talking about D and AMP? D? I love fantasy stuff. I know I'm not supposed to ask, but I need to know. It's not for work or anything. What religion are you, HR manager? I belong to the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Lawsuits. New guy at work. First coffee break he started complaining about his ex who had full custody of the kids for some unknowable reason and also how he'd like to slash her throat with a rusty knife. Nice to meet you too. Don't think I'll be taking breaks with you. It was nice of him to clear up why his wife divorced him and why he couldn't be with his kids. They talk negatively about someone else in a very judgy way. There was this mom in my daughter's school who seemed to know everyone. She talked to me and she spoke so bad about these people. Then moments later I saw her interacting in a friendly way with those she was judging. My eyes rolled so much I could see my brain telling me not to get involved with her. And I was right, because by the time school year ends, her friends hated her and they were talking behind her back too. A girl that used to be my best friend is like this. It was the weirdest thing to see her bitch about all these people then have Insta photos up a few days later with them. I didn't notice she did this until our friendship was on the line, so I asked other people if she did this and they said yes too. I started my PhD a few months ago and one of a common starter conversation with postgraduates who just meet is, what is your thesis about? Well, I get asked the question first and after describing my dissertation theme, the other guy goes, oh I see, well mine is actually important, with a very condescending tone. Well pal, fuck you too I guess. Oh wow, this blew up. A few people have commented about what my thesis was about, so here is a brief overview. I aim to detect corrosion, specifically rust, using electrochemical sensors in nuclear plant nuclear contaminated areas. I was listening to the NEXIVM podcast and the clip of the founder saying he has 225 IQ. If I walked into a room and heard someone say that, I'd walk right back out. I used to brag about my IQ score. It was off of a free internet test. I was 14. I learned better. The quiet boy at school sat next to me and told me how hard he felt when he took a shit and how many times he ejaculated that way. I never sat next to him again. Are you from the UK and was the kid's name Chris? Some people might say I'm an asshole, but I just tell it how it is. 99% chance they're an asshole that I don't want to be around. A lot of people have told me I'm an asshole, and I've decided that it warrants no further self-reflection. Was a customer at work. Naturally I wouldn't be friends. But even in a setting where we could become friends, it wasn't happening. I came up to her to see if she had any questions about our critters. I work in a pet shop, and the very first thing she asked was if parakeets could talk because she wanted to teach them racial slurs. Biggest nope of my life. Imagine trying to explain to someone why your bird is racist. New guy at work. Super fake by being overly excited and super overly comfortable with everyone in the first minute. He's all mammy this and papy that to everyone and very overly touchy. We were almost all Hispanics there and everyone was uncomfortable. First phone call of the day. He hangs up cursing and taking it super personally that someone hung up on him. Daily occurrence in customer service. After about 6 months, I put in my 2 weeks notice solely because I couldn't work next door with him anymore. He would also get overly gossipy and personal. My boss rejected my notice and transferred him. He couldn't stand the guy either. No one could. Fuck, I had to scroll too far to see this. People who try to force best friend vibes with everyone have 100% turned out to be creeps or psychos in my life. Like, fucking chill. We don't know each other and that's fine. We don't need inside jokes on the first day. I'm not literally your spirit animal. Always comes off so transactional. Like, if I say the friendship things, I can get what I want from anyone. No. Let it happen naturally. If we vibe, we vibe. If we don't, cool. Had just started a job, and within a minute of meeting one of my new colleagues he waxes lyrical about how weak it is that one of our other colleagues uses an inhaler, oblivious to the fact I myself use an inhaler, though my asthma is mild and well managed. Ironically, the shit-talking colleague in question had no discernible chin and looked very out of shape himself. The new neighbor who after introducing himself pointed to his chest and says, "Instant asshole, just add beer." That's what the family says. Now we're not gonna be neighbor pals. Fuck you, you were an asshole even without beer. When people claim to be an asshole, believe them. Asked me, do you mind if smoke? Then proceeded to take out a meth pipe. This is hilarious, but yeah, nah, not pal material. We had just moved into a new house. An older gentleman, he was 65 and I was 35 at the time, came across the street towards me and stuck out his hand. I shook it and he said, "We love new neighbors. As long as they're white." I guess I should be glad I can pass. I remember seeing someone for around 20 seconds. They didn't seem aware of my presence, and they were already making fun of me because I simply walked by. They made fun of other people too. But the fact that they just met someone and immediately targeted them for harassment is a red flag bigger than most polls can handle. He learned I'm a physicist, and immediately started talking about infinite energy. Like perpetual motion? You're late. I've been here for 10 minutes already. I was only 5 minutes late for the date because I was looking for parking and had let him know. In Germany this conversation wouldn't be noteworthy at all. Me at my first day on the job, on my lunch break. Coworker, are you Chinese? Me, yeah. Coworker, I don't like Chinese food, walks away. Don't eat me then. Asked a guy what he does at a business networking event. Well, I'm a chiropractor but looking to get out. How come? All these Me Too accusations. In another state I had 3 of them. Good thing none of them went to the bar. Edit, he probably said board instead of bar. As soon as he started complaining about Me Too accusations, I pretty much tuned him out. Started at a new job, went for a team dinner, and the very first thing he did was talk about how bad the dating scene was in the city and how ugly all the women are. Dating scene was absolutely fine BTW. I pull out of the conversation and then he just continues to ramble on about how smart he is vs everyone else. Safe to say I've been avoiding him since. Met someone at the dog park. He got to talking about what we do for work. I screen resumes at my job and deny anyone with an overly complicated ethnic name. That's discriminatory and illegal. They'll never know. I was talking to a girl in college and she made some remark about, yeah, like when you test your boyfriend to make sure he loves you, and I remember thinking, you seemed so normal. Oh, a test? Like a quiz? Is it multiple choice, essay, or an oral exam? Things I'd have thought of to say a day later lol. I went to a teacher conference. My colleague introduced me to a lady from another school. We shook hands and exchanged names. Her first question was, "Are you married?" which seemed forthright but not entirely uncommon. When I said yes, she asked if my wife is Chinese. I said yes again. Her response was, "Because if you one Chinese man will be unable to find a wife." I'd love to say I had a clever comeback. Instead I was stunned into silence. That arbitrary Chinese man can't marry a woman of a different race? I met one of my new colleagues at a barbecue that was being hosted by our work. I, a man, drove with another coworker, a woman and a friend of mine, so we arrived together. When I was alone for a moment, this guy, whom I've never spoken to before, comes up next to me and says, "Yo dude, you hit in that," gestures to my friend. I said no, and she also has a boyfriend. He very exaggeratedly says, "Damn." Yada yada. He got fired 2 years later for sexually harassing an intern. I notice you're big on the phrase yada yada. I'm going to fuck up your face. Deleted. I hate that our boss is a chick. Bitches make the worst bosses. Lunch break of his first day on the job. Deleted. They didn't know what WWII was, who Hitler was, or why Nazis were bad. She thought it was a slur for white person because she kept seeing it on the news and online. I have to assume she was homeschooled by imbeciles, because about the only things we covered repeatedly in history class were the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, WWI and WWII. Let the NR do it. After my then manager self-informed a new hire of his next task, which apparently he found beneath him. Better or worse than his newfound unemployment? Around the lunch table at work, a couple of the younger guys, straight out of high school young, are talking about a young female singer. New guy around my age says I'd take a rape charge for that. All-time favorite was this girl they had just hired who would answer any question by responding that she had a fiancé. Like, "Hi, my name is Bill, where are you from? I have a fiancé." Like any of us were going to bang her in the walk-in cooler if she didn't. She had to remind herself of it every 2 minutes lest she forgot. Went to the penthouse party of a guy my friend used to hook up with. This dude gave me Patrick Bateman vibes, from his house decor to the way he talked. Total creep. The only time he spoke directly to me the entire party he was making fun of homeless people. I did not like him. I used to play the drums and jump around in different bands to find one that fit. One guitarist, and I'll never forget it, said, "I don't know what it is, but black women's pussy smells so bad." It also came out of nowhere since we were talking about music during a practice. I never saw him again. I also apologize for having to repeat it. Fucking guitarists always out of pocket with some wild shit. We need to start doing. And X200B. It was the assistant my work at the time transferred to work with me. Literally first minute he was telling me how to fix my site, the one he knew next to nothing about. We need to start doing more multivariate testing of page speed enhancements to the conversion rate optimization strategy that reconciles overhead costs. Anything that starts with a look over both shoulders and a "since it's just us" head nod that lets you know some racist ignorant shit is coming. I was at my sister-in-law's house at a housewarming when their new neighbor let fly right after he met me. He was trying to discreetly talk to me and his friend who was also over. I did the "I don't understand" trick where you keep asking them to explain the joke until it's uncomfortable for everybody and starts drawing attention. Still hate that dude. They tried to convince me that Hitler had some good points. I think he's in jail now. Actually, Hitler's probably dead by now. It isn't so much what they say, it's how they say it. If the person has not learned to take a breath between natural breaks in what they are saying and, instead, continue to steamroll over a conversation, I'm tuning out. I'm a female person. I once met a woman who told me she hates women and has no female friends because women are too much drama and she's just one of the guys. Okay, got it. The idea that women in the workplace can't get along seems like a self-fulfilling prophecy. A woman I know in education was complaining that a meeting had devolved into passive aggressiveness and bickering because you know how it is, most of the staff are female, just too much estrogen in the room. And I was like, WTF are you talking about? I work a trade job in the entertainment industry, which is a fairly mixed gender environment, and I haven't seen this supposedly inevitable female combativeness. Sometimes the crews are mostly or all women who work well together, solve problems efficiently, and hang out drinking beer after work cause they like each other. My new neighbor moved in and avoided contact for the first week or so before walking over to us while my wife and I were doing some yard work. He says, "I've got my lady hollering at me to come to the hospital. She's having our kid." "Oh, congrats," I said. "I hope it's not mine," he says. At a gym, a guy I knew to be a drug dealer came up to me and opened with, "Would you look at the tits on that," about a friend who was a police officer. Classless and ignorant, not a friend-winning combo, I'm afraid. Only guy I've ever met who was every shit male stereotype rolled into one. It's all about the tone for me. Deleted. I knew I wasn't gonna like her based off her actions on her first day at work. We work with dogs at a daycare and boarding place. In the morning, during feedings, one of the first things she tried to do was get meds from the med cabinet. I tell her no, that's front desk, they handle medication. She just kinda nods. In my head, I'm like, not sure why you are trying to pass out meds without anyone explaining anything to you, but okay, let's move on. Few days go by, then one day, she asks if she's supposed to clean the water bowls we have in the dog suites overnight. She was already told how to clean suites, which involve cleaning the bowls every morning. I just say yes. She also asked me if she should clean the park water bowl after a dog peed in it. I again say yes. She still works here, but no one likes her since she likes to pretend she knows what she's doing, then asks questions that can be answered by having basic common sense and problem solving skills. They don't know to change a water bowl if something has peed in it. How have they survived this long? No, seriously. How? 2004, first day in my college dorms, and the very first words my new roommate says to me, after "Hi, I'm," name, "Well, you're a Republican, right?" I didn't want to cause problems within the first minute of meeting, and I didn't really follow politics too closely at the time, so I just said sure to keep the peace. Then he slapped a "Proud Republican" sticker on the front of our door. It was not a great year. I would have gotten a sticker made myself that said "Proud Hentai Lover" and slapped that right under it. Hey, if you can embarrass me, I can embarrass you. No one wants to work anymore. I've been here 15 years and I've never called in sick. I had a fever and I came in and powered through it. I said I was sorry that he couldn't afford to miss a shift and he got all offended. It was genuinely a point of pride for him to work while sick. Absolutely disgusting. I had a lecturer who was bragging about never missing days. He seemed like a lovely guy, but it was definitely a point of pride for him. The guy had a kidney transplant and he was bragging about how doctors were begging him to stay in the hospital but he never misses work. He started seeming more and more sick, more irritable, had to lean against the wall. Then he did end up not coming in for a while and by the end of the year I heard he was dead. He might have died from any complication to do with the transplant or something like that, but it really looked like I was watching someone work themselves to death. At the time when he bragged about coming in after surgery I assumed he meant way in the past. New girl at my job. I asked her how her training videos were going and she rambled for about 30 seconds about how her old professors bred horses. She ended up being my least favorite coworker. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I offend everybody equally. Says something racist, says something homophobic, says something sexist. I hate these people, because when you make a joke back at them they'll go serious. They'll say, no. That isn't true, that's so stupid, but no, when you react the same way to them, they're just joking and you should stop being so uptight. Girl, I have 2 siblings. How many siblings do you have? Me, I have 10 siblings. But I only associate with my twin now. Girl, disgusted, geez. Your mom should close her legs. I bet you don't even share a father with all of them. Me. You're a bitch walks away. I didn't want to respond to the actual statement because out of those 10 the only full-blooded relative I had was my twin. 6 were half, 3 were step and 1 adopted. I think that whole conversation lasted less than 30 seconds. It was supposed to be a simple icebreaker and that single question told me everything about her personality and who she was. A bitch. What's the difference between half and step siblings? Sorry if it's a dumb question. English is not my first language.